I'm not sure if I like it actually, to be honest. It's kind of strange sounding. Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I am Molly, and in this video I am going to be listening to the album Dirt from the band Alice in Chains. Now this is Alice in Chains' second studio album. They released this one in 1992 and it seems like a lot of you want me to check this one out. It's been requested a lot in the comments of my other videos, and as far as I know I've never heard any music from Alice in Chains before, so yeah, I'm very excited to check this album out and see what I'm going to think of it. Alright, so getting started with track 1 on Dirt, we have Them Bones. Right off the start with this one, there's a really big, open, kind of echoey sound to it. And the guitars almost sound like they're accelerating. There's kind of like a really streamlined speediness to them. Well, that was track 1, Them Bones. I really liked the expansive quality of the sound of that track. It had this really great, big, like wide open sound to it. I also really enjoyed how right off the bat that song just got things underway with a lot of like loudness to it and intensity. There wasn't like a little kind of introduction to the song that slowly built up. It was just bang, right off the start. They just brought the instrumentals and the vocals and all of that fantastic noise. But I'm going to move on now to track 2 called Damn That River. Again, the vocals on this one have this really open quality to their sound. His voice is just like spreading out far and wide, if that makes any sense. Every now and again too, there's like a twanginess to his voice. Man, these instrumentals are really fantastic. The guitars especially are just bringing this really like clean sounding intensity. That was track 2, Damn That River. I would say tonally very similar to the first track with the vocals and then that kind of speediness, like the streamlined nature of the guitar. I'm really loving how open they're keeping this album sounding. It just sounds like he's outside alone, kind of screaming out the vocals, and he's not in a studio recording. There's not like a confined feeling to the album. And lyrically, it kind of sounded like that track was getting into metaphorically like killing someone or cutting someone off from your life. That was kind of what I was picking up on anyway. All right, moving on to track 3 now, we have Rain When I Die. I don't know what those sounds are. I find it really enthralling how this album is really fusing such a grungy sound with a really clean sound at the same time. There's a certain jazzy sort of funkiness to this track that is kind of reminding me a little bit of the Mars Volta. Like if you took the Mars Volta and you slowed their music down and made it a little bit more grungy sounding, this track is kind of reminiscent of that a little bit. Well, that was track 3, Rain When I Die. The guitars on that track were so impressive to me. I'm really curious to know how many guitarists Alice in Chains has, because the variety of the different guitars that they're using and the sounds that they're making on this album is really impressive to me so far. I'm only 3 tracks in and we've gotten like some groovy elements, like some funk and jazz sounds, but then we've gotten more of a rock edge too. Up next is track 4 called Down in a Hole. All right, now we've got some acoustic guitar. I just got goosebumps when that chorus came in. Man, there's such a smooth quality to this song. I don't know how they're doing that. It's so grungy, but it's so clean sounding too. Down in a Hole, Losing My Soul. There's definitely a lot of themes so far on this album surrounding death and dying. Like Down in a Hole, I'm thinking he's talking about being buried. Again, the instrumentals, there's like this really faint acoustic sound. I don't know if it's an acoustic guitar. It's some sort of like twangy stringed instrument I keep picking up on. Track 4, Down in a Hole. I absolutely loved that song. That one was fantastic. I really liked how it started off very acoustic sounding with that guitar, very minimalistic, and then they just really gradually built it up, but in a very subtle way. That song carried so much power and intensity with it without bringing a lot of dramatics to the sound. Like they kept it pretty reined in, but it was very powerful sounding at the same time. But moving on now to track 5, we have Sickman. Okay, this one's bringing a little bit more aggression, a little bit more dirtiness to its sound. That tempo change was unexpected. It was going along so speedily, and then it just slowed down all of a sudden. This song is taking so many twists and turns. This track's definitely different. They're doing some interesting stuff with the vocals. That was track 5, Sickman. I think perhaps the song on this album so far that's had the most variety on it in terms of just changing up the sound of the song, the tempo of the song too. Like you had that really intense, speedier start to it, and then it got really slowed down, a little bit more heavy and dense sounding, and then they would speed it up again. Just all the variety on that one was so cool to listen to. Moving on now to track 6, we have Rooster. Got some unexpected vocals here at the start. Sounds very angelic and light. Got some harmonization going on here. Oh yeah. I love how much aggression they're bringing to this chorus, contrasted with how pulled in and restrained that first verse was. And now he's saying, you know, he ain't gonna die. Again, kind of going back to the whole theme of death on this album. Is this the point where he's reached sort of a more hopeful place, a more optimistic place where he doesn't think he's gonna die anymore? I love that one cymbal that they're using. Just a little percussive touch. Track 6, Rooster. Somehow so pulled in and pretty restrained with its sound, like borderline kind of melodic or acoustic almost in a way. And then that chorus would come in and bring so much power and intensity without losing that minimalistic sound at the same time. Moving on to track 7, we have Junkhead. Man, this one's got an awesome, just really heavy start to it, like a really grungy quality to its sound. Nothing better than a dealer who's high. Again, we've got some interesting vocal stuff going on with this one. I've got to say, I'm finding on this album so far, they've done a really good job balancing the vocals and the instrumentals. Sometimes the instrumentals drown out the vocals, or sometimes the opposite is true and the vocals overpower the instrumentals, and this album, it's like perfectly balanced. They all work to complement each other really well. The verses on this track have such just a heavy quality to them, and then the chorus comes in. And it's almost like it lifts off, like it takes flight, and then there's just this really clean soaring quality to it. Track 7, Junkhead. That one was so smooth from beginning to end, even though they were kind of changing up the sound of it. Like I mentioned, it kind of went from that grungier, heavier, slower part, and then the chorus brought this really kind of lighter, soaring sound to it. The transition between those two elements of that track were done so effectively, and the lead singer's voice too just pairs so well with the instrumentals. It just all is working together really well on this album. But I'm going to move on now to track 8, which is the title track, Dirt. I want you to kill me and take me under. I want to live no more. Again, there's a whole death theme going on here. These guitars are bringing such a funky edge to this album at times. I love it. It's almost needed paired with the more grungy aspect of this album. It kind of brings a fun little refreshing twist at times to the sound. I love how his vocals have this great power to them, but he has a way of keeping them pulled in that there's kind of like a seething, simmering quality to him too. Track 8, Dirt. That was just a really withheld, kind of tension-filled song almost. It had like this really dark, grunginess to it, and they didn't really go all out with the delivery. They kind of just kept it pulled in, almost like a simmering hate kind of to the sound of that track. And it kind of matched with the lyrics too. It sounded like he was talking about someone having the power to bury him with dirt, to kill him, like someone has the talent to have that much control over how he feels about himself. And that hatred, that resentment toward that person was really coming out in the sound of that track. I thought it was really cool how they did that. Moving along now to track 9, we have Godsmack. His vocals have kind of a shakiness to them on this one. That guitar is so awesome. Yeah, his vocals are so weird on this track. They sound really different. They also sound more enclosed. I mentioned earlier on this album, it sounded like there was an openness and expansiveness to his vocals. And on this track, it sounds really enclosed. It's almost like there's so much resentment towards someone or something coming out in his voice that it's got like this really odd shakiness to it. I'm not sure if I like it, actually, to be honest. It's kind of strange sounding. Well, that was track 9, Godsmack. I would say certainly an appropriate track name. It almost sounded like a smack in the face, just with how it kind of hit you with a little bit more aggression, especially coming after track 8, Dirt, which was just more pulled in and restrained with its sound. I really liked the chorus on that one, and the instrumentals, like those guitars, were just awesome. The vocals on the verses, though, were kind of off-putting in a way for me to listen to, like how they had that shakiness to them. I'm not sure if I necessarily enjoyed it. It was a little bit unexpected, I guess. But moving on now to track 10, we have Untitled. I guess it's just a bunch of demented laughter and guitars. Well, that was track 10, Untitled, just a 43-second, I don't know if you'd call that an interlude, just a weird kind of short little track with some demented sounding laughing and then some really distorted electric guitar going on. Not really much else to say about that one, it was so short. But up next now we have track 11 called Hate to Feel.
What the fuck will it take? Plastic man, paper face, stare at me with empty eyes.
It's almost like this song is speeding up. It's got this great rhythm going on, like it's accelerating. That's what it sounds like. And it's, you see, it just keeps building up. I love it. Yeah, this track has more of a staccato-ness to it, like a sharpness. Wow, the ending of that track alone was just absolute craziness. But that was track 11, Hate to Feel. Just a fantastic one that brought a lot of punchiness to it. Kind of like track 9, Godsmack. It just had this awesome, energetic delivery, and it kind of had a bit of a sharper quality to it. Kind of like a twanginess with the instrumentals. It lost a bit of that smoothness that some of the other tracks on this album have had. Alright, up next is track 12 called Angry Chair. again, this one's got a great punchy delivery to it. It's almost like as this album progresses, they're kind of losing that smoothness and the openness, and they're almost sounding a little bit more enclosed. Yeah, serenity is far away. It's almost like we had the serenity at the start of the album, and now we've lost it. That transition was nice. Track 12, Angry Chair. I really liked the energetic delivery of that one. Again, a punchier track. I really enjoyed on that one too, how they were changing up the rhythm a lot. Like the percussion I was noticing on that one was doing some really, really fun stuff. Lyrically too, he was talking about like losing his mind and not really caring, just kind of becoming unhinged, I guess. And there was kind of like an unhinged quality to the sound of that one. And moving on now to track 13, we have the last song on Dirt called Wood. That bass though, right at the start, you gotta love it. Man, this one has a really awesome smoothness to it. And there's such a power too to the percussion. It's bringing this great kind of hollow echoiness to this track. Yeah, see, the smoothness is back on this one too. How I was just saying the last few tracks have sounded sharper, more punchy, more aggressive, and kind of more closed in. This one's going back to that really open, smooth, expansive sound. Well, that was track 13, Wood, the last track on Dirt. That one is one of my favorites on this album, actually. I thought that was a fantastic way to close this album. It kind of did a whole full circle. Like that last track sounded like how the album started, with just that really awesome, expansive, open sound to it. It's almost like through the course of the album, it got more aggressive sounding, and then at the end, it was like he rose out of that, and it just got lighter and more streamlined with its sound again. And the instrumentals on that song were just awesome. The bass, the percussion, just a great tone to them, and then paired with the vocals, just a perfect way to end that album. Well, that officially concludes my reaction to Dirt, the second studio album from the band Alice in Chains. It certainly delivered on the grunginess, that awesome like raw rock quality that I love, but it blended it with a great, really clean, streamlined sound too. I loved how they did that so effectively on this album. Upon listening to this album one time, I think the standouts for me are track 4, Down in a Hole. That one was a little bit more restrained, a little more melodic, but just such a fantastic sound to that one. Also, all of the variety and change up on track 5, Sickman, was really impressive too. And then the simmering, kind of seething nature of track 8, Dirt, the title track. And then my favorite might actually be the closing track, Wood. That one had a really awesome, like clean, open, expansive quality to it, and the instrumentals were just fantastic across that whole track. But yeah, thank you all so much for recommending Dirt by Alice in Chains to me. I'm definitely looking forward to going back and re-listening to this album now, going more into the lyrics as well. And let me know down in the comments if Alice in Chains is a band you want to see me do more reactions to. I'd love to check out more of their discography and just see what else I'm going to think of their music. But yeah, as usual, thank you all so much for watching. Stay tuned, and I will see you in the next video.